Good afternoon. We're with Eric Loewen, the president of the American Nuclear Society. Eric, you've just returned from a groundbreaking trip to India with a delegation of experts and dignitaries. What was the reason for the trip, and what did you hope to accomplish there?
One of the things that I see the society doing is keeping legacies going on. And so when I looked at the presidency of Harold McFarlane, he took that first trip to India, and that was right during the two great democracies, India and the United States, were working together on a nuclear agreement. And the society was there to help that agreement along, and that agreement got signed into law between the two countries. So when I looked at what I wanted to accomplish during my very, very short year as president in 1 year, when I looked at the international landscape, it seemed like a trip was needed again to India that showed that we're very supportive, trying to get these two democracies working together in nuclear science and technology. So I had the opportunity to lead a delegation of 20 different ANS members, and our purpose was to share nuclear science and technology and talk about the benefits of how we can work together between the American Nuclear Society and the Indian Nuclear Society.
Based on what you saw there and the conversation that you had, could you give us some highlights for the trip? What stands out in your mind as a couple of high points?
The highlights were that we had the opportunity to see three key facilities that the Indians have done to see their development technology. So the first one we went to is where their sodium fast reactor is. They have some CANDU reactors, and we got to see their state of development as they build their second sodium-cooled fast reactor. So we saw that in Chennai, and then traveled up there. We came down to Mumbai, and we got to see their facility called IGCAR. I don't know what that stands for, but we got to see where they have a very large test reactor that they run in their experimentation and development in nuclear waste and technology. And then we got to see one of their vendors that fabricates large reactor components, L&T, and the delegation got to see that. And I would say the biggest highlight was we, as a delegation of 20, presented to Dr. Kakodkar a presidential citation for his efforts, technical efforts, that he did in getting the agreement between India and the United States done. So he was a lead scientist in the India delegation that was there when Prime Minister Singh and President Bush signed the agreement in the White House, and he was a technical person that was there on the Indian side. So he has since retired and was very pleased that the American Nuclear Society recognized him.
That sounds like a fantastic trip, Eric. What's next for the ANS relationship with its counterparts in India?
We made a lot of contacts while we were there, and I see the first probably foothold, if we have, or not foothold, but first interactions with our academia team. So we brought 4 professors over from a lot of different universities, and we got to go to IT Bombay, and we had a one-day workshop with them, and we saw a lot of opportunities to bring American students to India and Indian students to America to continue with that technology transfer. As a society, we also got to interact with the Indian Nuclear Society, and we want to see if we can do joint topicals or joint meetings to better share nuclear science and technology. And then finally it comes down to those personal relationships. So that team of 20 ANS members that went over there have now made new friends, and the people in India have met new Americans, and you never know where those sort of relationships will go in the future. We expect very positive outcomes.
Thank you very much. We've been talking with Eric Loewen, president of the American Nuclear Society, about his trip to India, along with a delegation of American diplomats, business people, and academia. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Dan.